Buddha, he will meet an idiot. Buddha is just a mirror. And that man will go and spread the rumor that Buddha is idiot. He has to look himself in Buddha. If someone sensitive, understanding, mature, grown-up comes, he will look in Buddha, something else. He will look his own face. That's how. There is no other way. You go on being mirrored by persons who are totally empty. And whatsoever you carry is your interpretation. So it is said in all the scriptures that when you reach to an enlightened person, remain totally silent, don't think, otherwise you will miss the opportunity of meeting him. Just remain silent, don't think. Absorb him. But don't try to understand him through your head. Absorb him, drink him. Allow your total being to be open to him. Let him move within you. But don't think about him, because if you think, then your mind will be echoed. Let your total being be bathed in his presence. Only then a glimpse you will have of what type of being, of what type of phenomena you have come in contact. Many come to Buddhas. They come and go. They carry their own opinions. And they go on and they spread. Very few, rarely, very few understand. And that's how it should be. Because you can understand only according to you. If you are ready to melt and change and be transformed, only then you can understand what an enlightened person is or enlightened being is. Third question. You said that noise and disturbances are not outside in the world, but are because of our own mind and ego. But why do the saints and mystics always live in unnoisy, uncrowded places? Because they are still not saints and mystics. They are still endeavoring, still working. They are seekers, not siddhas. They have not reached. Noise will disturb them. Crowd will disturb them. Crowd will pull them back to its own level. They are still weak. They need protection. They are still not confident. They cannot move into temptations. They have to protect themselves into lonely solitudes, where they can grow and become strong. When they are strong, then there will be no problem. Mahavir moved into wilderness. For 12 years he was alone, silent, not talking, not moving in religious cities. Then he became enlightened. Then he came back to the world. Buddha was for 6 years in total silence. Then he came back to the world. Jesus or Muhammad or anyone. When they are growing, they need protected conditions. When they have grown, then there is no problem. So, if you find some mystic afraid of moving in a crowd, then know that he is still a child, growing. Otherwise, why mystics will be afraid of moving in crowds? Nothing can be done to him by the crowd, by the noise, by the world, by the objects of the world. With all this madness around him, nothing can be done to him. He cannot be touched. He can move. He can live. Anywhere it happens to his emptiness to live, he can live. But in the beginning, it is good. It is good to be alone, to be in a harmonious natural surrounding. So remember, don't think that because you live in a noisy Bombay, you are a mystic. Or you have grown up and have become a siddha. If you want to grow, you will also have to move sometimes, for some definite periods, into loneliness. Moving out the crowd, out of the concerns of the world, relations of the world, objects of the world. Moving in such a place where you can be alone, not disturbed by others, and you can be disturbed as you are now. But once you have the strength, once you have the inner power, once you are crystallized, and you know now no one can settle your inner center, you can move anywhere. Then the whole world is lonely. And wherever you are is wilderness. Then the space of silence moves with you, you are the creator of it. Then around you, you can create your own inner silence. So wherever you move, you are in silence. No one can penetrate that silence. No noise can disturb it. But unless the crystallization has happened, don't believe that you will not be disturbed. You are disturbed. Whether you know it or do not know it. Really, you are so disturbed that you cannot know it. You have become accustomed to disturbance. Your every nerve is on edge. You are continuously disturbed. Now you don't feel disturbance. Even to feel disturbance, sometimes you need not to be disturbed. Only then you can feel in contrast. You are continuously disturbed. You have become accustomed, habitual. You think this is how life is. It will be good if you move for some time to the Himalayas. It will be good to go into some remote village, a remote forest, and be alone for a few days, silence, as if the whole humanity has disappeared. Then come back to Bombay. Then you will know what disturbance you have been living in. You will be suddenly disturbed. No, you can contrast. You were having an inner music, it is settled. For seekers, it is good. For Siddhas, it is irrelevant. And there are two types of wrong people. First type, if you say to them that it is you who are disturbed, situation is irrelevant, then they will never go into solitariness to have a glimpse of what silence is. Then they will remain here and they will say, nothing disturbs. It is we really, not the surrounding. So remain here. And they are disturbed. But the theory will become a rationalization. And then there are other people, the other type, other wrong people. If you say to them that move to silence, move to solitude, it will help. They will move, but then they will never come back. Then it becomes an addiction. Then they will remain weak forever. then they will always feel afraid of coming back to the world. Then their solitariness has not been a help. Rather, it has become a hindrance. They are not more strong through it. They have become weaker. Now they cannot move into the world. These both types are wrong. Be the third type, which is the right type. In the beginning, know well that you are disturbed by circumstances. So try, sometimes, manage to move out of them. And then when you are out of them, whatsoever silence you attain, bring it back to your circumstances and try to preserve it. If you can preserve it in the circumstances, only then the theory would have become an experience. Then you know nothing disturbs. Then you know it is you, ultimately, who is disturbed or not disturbed. But make it an experience. Just as a theory, it is useless. Fifth question. It is one thing to realize cosmic consciousness on earth and transcend body. But how does realized ones know, fast sure, that this consciousness is eternal and will remain after the death of the body? First thing, they don't bother about it. They are not worried about it, that it should remain or not. It is you who are worried. They don't think of the next moment. Next life is just irrelevant. Even the next day, next moment is not a point of concern. It is you who always asks of something in the future, something of the future. Why? Because your present is just empty. Your present is just nothing. Your present is so rotten. Your present is such a suffering that you can tolerate it only if you go on thinking of the future and the paradise and the life ahead. Just here now there is no life. So you pitch your mind into the future just to escape the present, the ugly present. One who is realized is here and now totally alive. All that can happen has happened. There is no future to him. Whether death is going to kill him or not is not a concern at all. It is the same. Whether he disappears or remains, it makes no difference. This moment is so rich, so absolutely rich. This moment is so intense that his whole being is here and now. Ananda asks again and again to Buddha, what will happen to you when your body dies? And Buddha insists again and again, Ananda, why you are so much concerned with future? Why don't you look me what is happening now? But again and again, few days pass and he will ask again, what happens to an enlightened one when his body dies? Because he is afraid about himself. He is afraid, he knows that when the body dies, there is no possibility to revive, there is no possibility to remain, there is no possibility to be. And he has not attained anything. The life has been just passed out. It has been a futile thing. And if death happens without attaining anything, he will simply disappear. So the whole thing was meaningless. The whole suffering meaningless, leading nowhere. He is concerned. He wants to know that something survives after the body. But Buddha says, I am here and now. What will happen in the future is not the concern at all. So the first thing, he is not bothered. That is one of the signs of the realized one, that he is not bothered of the future. And second thing, you ask, how does he know for sure? Knowledge is always sure. Certainty is inherent, intrinsic to knowledge. You have a headache. Can I ask you, how can you say for sure that you have a headache? You will say, I know. I can ask, but how are you sure that your knowledge is right and not wrong? But no one asks such nonsense questions. When the headache is there, it is there, you know. Knowledge is intrinsically certain. When one is enlightened, he knows. He is enlightened. And he knows that he is not this body. And he knows that inside is just a vast space. And space cannot die. Things can die. Space cannot die. Just think this room. We can destroy this building, this woodland. But we cannot destroy the roominess in this room. Or can you destroy it? The walls can be destroyed. But we are sitting here in this roominess, space. The walls can be destroyed, but how can you destroy this room? Not the walls, but the space here. The whole woodland may disappear. It will disappear one day. But this space will remain. Your body disappears. Because you don't know the inner space, you are afraid. And you want to know it for sure. But an enlightenment knows that he is the space, not the body, not the walls, but the inner space. The walls will drop. They have dropped many times. Inner space will remain. It is not something he has to find proofs for it. It is his immediate knowledge. He knows it, that's all. Knowledge is intrinsically certain. And if your knowledge is uncertain, then remember, it is not knowledge. People come to me and they say, our meditation is going very well. We are feeling very happy. And then suddenly they ask me, what you say about? Is our happiness really there? Are we really happy? They ask me. They are not certain about their happiness. What type of knowledge is this? They are simply pretending, but they cannot deceive. They are thinking, they are hoping, they are wishing, but they are not happy. Otherwise, what is the need to ask me? I will never go to ask anybody whether I am happy or not. Why I should? If I am happy, I am happy. If I am not, I am not. And who else can give a proof for it? If I cannot be a witness, who will be a witness for me? And how the other can be a witness? So sometimes I play games, sometimes I say, yes, you are so happy. You are absolutely happy. And they become more happy just hearing me. And sometimes I say, no, you don't so. There is no indication. You are not happy, you must have been drinking. And they drop. Their happiness disappears, they become sad. What type of happiness is this? With just by saying that you are happy increase, just saying that you are not disappears. They are just trying to be happy, they are not. This is not knowledge. This is just wish fulfillment. They hope and they think they can deceive themselves by thinking that they are happy, believing that they are happy, finding some proof, finding some certificate from somewhere that they are happy. They think they will create happiness. It is not so easy. When something happens in the inner world, you know it has happened. You need not any certificate. You don't need. The very search that someone should approve is childish. It shows you long for happiness, but you have not attained it. You don't know. It has not happened to you. One who is realized is always certain. And when I say certain, sure, absolutely sure, I don't mean that he feels some uncertainty somewhere. And against that uncertainty he feels certain. No. He is simply certain. There is no question of uncertainty. I am alive. Am I certain about it? That I am alive? Sure about it. There is no question. There is no question of certainty. It is absolutely certain. It is not to be decided. I am alive. Socrates was dying, and someone asked him, Socrates, you are dying so easily, so happily. What is the matter? Are you not afraid? Are you not scared? And Socrates said, a very beautiful thing he said. He said, only two things are possible. After I am dead, either I will be or I will not be. If I am not, then there is no question. No one is there to know it, even to know that I am not. The simply whole thing disappears. And if I am there, then there is no question. I am. Only two are the possibilities. Either I will be or I will not be. And both are okay. If I am, then the whole thing continues. If I am not, then there is no one to know, so why are we worried? And he is not an enlightened one, but a very wise man. Remember, this is the difference between a wise one and an enlightened one. Wise one thinks deeply. Then he takes intellectually into everything and comes to a conclusion. He is a very wise man. He says two are the alternatives. Logically, he penetrates into the phenomenon of death. Only two are the possibilities. Either I simply disappear, I am no more, or I will remain. Is there any third alternative? There is no third alternative. So Socrates says, I have thought about both. If I remain, then there is no question to be worried. If I am no more, there is no one to worry. So why be worried now? I will see what happens. He is not in the know. He doesn't know what is going to happen. But he has wisely thought about it. He is not a Buddha. He is the clearest intellectual possible. But even if you can become wise, not enlightened, because enlightened is neither. He is neither wise nor ignorant. He has transcended the duality. Even if you can become wise, you will feel relaxed. Even if you can become wise, you will feel very contented. But wisdom is not the goal of Tantra or Yoga. Tantra and Yoga, they aim for the supreme. The point where wisdom and ignorance both are transcended. One simply knows, not thinks. One simply looks and is aware. The last question. I certainly want to become enlightened. But if I do, what difference does it make for the rest of the world? But why are you worried about the rest of the world? Let the world worry itself. And you are not worried if you remain ignorant. What happens to the rest of the world? If you are ignorant, what happens to the rest of the world? Then you create misery. Not that you knowingly do it. You are misery. And whatsoever you do, you sow seeds of misery all around. Your hopes are meaningless. Your being is significant. You may think you are helping others, you hinder them. You may think you love, and you may be simply killing them and murdering them. You think you are teaching, and you may be simply helping them to remain ignorant forever. Because what you hope, what you think, what you wish is not significant. What you are is significant. I see all around, every day, people are loving to each other, and they are killing each other. And they think they are loving, and they think they are living for the other. And without them, the life of their family, their beloveds, their children, their wives, their husband will be miserable without them. And it is miserable with them. And they try in every way, but whatever they do goes wrong. It is bound to be so, because they are wrong. Doing is not of much importance. The being from where it comes originates. If you are ignorant, you are helping the world to become a hell. It is already. This is what has happened through you. Wherever you touch, you will create hell. If you become enlightened, whatsoever you do, whatsoever I say, or even if you don't do anything, just your being, your presence will help others to flourish, to be be happy, to be blissful. But that should not be your concern. The first thing is how to be enlightened. You ask me, I want to be enlightened. But that one thing seems to be very important. Because immediately you say, but. Whenever but comes, it shows the desire is important. What will happen to the world? Who you are? What do you think about yourself? The world depends on you. You are running it, managing it. You are responsible. Why give so much importance to yourself? Why feel so important? This feeling is part of the ego. And this worrying about others will never allow you to move that peak of realization. Because that peak is achieved only when you drop all worries. And you are so efficient in accumulating worries that you are simply wonderful. Not only yours own, you go on accumulating of others' worries as if they are not enough. You go on thinking about others. And what can you do? You can only get more and more worried and mad. I was reading Lord Webber's journal, the Viceroy's journal. The man seems to be very sincere, deeply honest, because some remarks he makes are just superb. One remark he makes in a journal, that unless these three old men, Gandhi, Jinnah and Churchill, die, India will be in trouble. These three men, Gandhi, Jinnah, Churchill. And these three were helping in every way. And Churchill's own Viceroy writes in a journal that unless these three men, and hopefully he even in the brackets gives their age, Gandhi 75, just hopefully that they should die soon, Jinnah 65, Churchill 68 something. Hopefully he hopes that unless these three, because these three are the problems. Can you think Gandhi can imagine that he is the problem? Or Jinnah, or Churchill, they are doing their best to solve the problem of this country. And Webber says these three are the problem. Because all the three are adamant, stubborn. Every one of these three has the absolute truth, and the other two are absolutely wrong. These three absolutes cannot meet anywhere. The other two are simply wrong, there is no question about it. Everyone thinks as if he is the center, and he has to worry about the whole world, and change the whole world, transform the whole world, create an utopia. All that you can do is just change yourself. You cannot change the world. You can create more mischief trying to change. You can create more chaos. You can harm. And you can puzzle. Already the world is too much puzzled. You can puzzle it more and confuse it more. Leave the world, please, to itself. You can do only one thing, and that is you can achieve inner silence, inner bliss, inner light. And if you achieve this, you have helped the world very much just by changing one ignorant spark into an enlightened flame. Just by changing one person from darkness into light, you have changed a part of the world. And this changed part will have its own chain reactions. Buddha is not dead. Jesus is not dead. They cannot be dead because it is a chain reaction. From one lamp, from one flame, another flame takes over. And the succession is created. And they go on living. But if your light is not there, your lamp is without the flame, you cannot help anyone. The first basic thing is you must attain your inner flame. Then others can share. Then you can kindle others' light also. Then it becomes a success. Then you may disappear from the body. But your flame goes on passing from hand to hand. Eternity. Up to eternity it goes on and on. Buddhas never die. Enlightened persons never die because their light becomes a chain reaction. And unenlightened persons never live because they cannot create any chain. They don't have any light to share, no flame to kindle someone else's flame. Please be concerned with yourself only. Be selfish, I say. Because that is the only way you will become selfless. That is the only way you can become a help and a blessing to the world. But don't be worried about it. That is not your concern. But greater your worries you think, greater are your responsibilities. Greater your worries, greater responsibilities you feel yourself, you are great. You are not. You are simply mad. Get out of this madness of helping others. Just help yourself. That's all that can be done. And then many things happen, but they happen as a consequence. Once you become a source of light, things start happening. Many will share it. Many will be enlightened through it. Many will attain life, more life, abundant life through it. But don't think about it. You cannot do anything consciously about it. Only one thing can be done, and that is you can become conscious. Then everything follows. Jesus says somewhere, enter into the kingdom of God first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Then all else shall be added unto you. I repeat the same. You know?
Namah Shivaya. शिवाय नमः शिवाय हर हर महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो हर हर महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो शिव शिव महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो शिव शिव महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो जय जय शिव शंभो जय जय शिव शंभो